Hello everyone, welcome to today's video where we're going to take a look at the two versions of 7 which have recently released. This video is a couple of weeks late because they came out I think about 2 weeks ago. I couldn't decide which version to get. I've ended up with both of them. We're going to unbox them together, compare them and decide which version we think is best. I have not seen 7 for many years. In fact, I own it on DVD. Never owned the Blu-ray of it. You know, this is one of Fincher's finest films. It's a fantastic thriller. Despite not seeing it for years, I can still remember the ending and the jump scare. And it's one of those films that, you know, I can't wait to watch again on 4K. We'll talk about the transfer at the end of the video. But as usual, if you are a fan of all things physical media, please drop this video a like and subscribe to the channel. But enough from me. Let's open these up and see which one we think is the best release. So here we have our two versions of 7. We have the Digipak and we have the Steelbook. We're going to start with the Steelbook. As soon as I get it out of this cellophane wrapper, that reflection should disappear. But before we do, if we just take a look at the J card here, the J card is the same on both versions. So we can see we've got the 4K HDR, there's no Dolby Vision on here, no Dolby Atmos. But we'll talk about the transfer at the end. For now, let's get this Steelbook open. And this one is the one that says limited edition. The Digipak doesn't say anything about limited edition. So maybe this is the one that is a bit more limited. They are both still available here in the UK. The Digipak is the Steelbook is the more expensive one. That one is priced at £29.99 here in the UK, whereas the Digipak is £24.99. So here we have the front cover here. We've got the marks down here for 7. These are removable. There's no glossing or anything here. It's quite a plain cover. I know when this was originally announced, there was a bit of talk about the actual picture itself. I don't think it was too clear what it was. You couldn't really see the character here, but obviously this is a famous scene from the movie with Kevin Spacey's character. Down the side we have 7, and then what we'll do, I'll just have to take this off gently. It's a bit hard to do while doing on the video. So we've got the glue, and then on the back here we have, again, quite simple artwork, nothing, you know, too crazy. And inside we have some images from the movie. We have our 4K and our Blu-ray. And then just take these out. I'm trying to be careful with the discs as well as videoing, so it's one of those ones that slides out. And there we go. So there is our Steelbook. But let's take a look now at the, I'm assuming, less limited release, which is the Digipak version. So, as I say, same J card on the back here. This one is priced slightly cheaper. This one is the £24.99 one. So let's see whether the premium price is worth it. I mean, it's only £5 difference here in the UK, so not a huge amount. So here we go. Obviously, it's different artwork straight away. You can see that this one doesn't have the Kevin Spacey character in the background. This one is just pure black. And then if we carefully take this J card off, because I always have trouble with glue, but that one come off quite easily. This has the same back cover as that one. So they're very identical. Obviously this one is a Digipak. So we have our Brad Pitt character here, which is again the same that's inside that Steelbook. We'll put that out of the way. And then on the back we have, I can't see what that is. I haven't seen the film for some years. It's hard to see what that particular scene is, but it looks like potentially Kevin Spacey's character there. It's hard to see. But this one opens up. Now that's magnetic. That feels quite nice. And the actual Digipak itself, you know, there's a bit of weight to it. It doesn't feel all too flimsy. Inside we've got a lot more artwork than we get with the Steelbook version. And it opens up again. And I think, and don't quote me on this, I believe David Fincher had some involvement in this particular design. I know originally they were going to do like a special edition What's in the Box version, but they changed it for this, which I'm trying not to block the light there. This one has a lot more artwork in it than we saw in the Steelbook. And I actually quite like that. This doesn't feel too flimsy or anything like super cheap. I mean, that magnet's quite nice. This feels quite, you know, hard. And we've got a lot of artwork in there. Now, I believe the disc, this is where some people are going to be a little bit upset, because the disc itself is in here. Now, I'm just going to carefully pull it out, but you can see that was quite stiff. Now, I suppose these are kind of first world problems. How often do you take the disc out of there? But that's not the safest way of storing your disc. But to be honest, I probably only take it out once every now and again when I watch the film. So there is no Blu-ray disc with this, which may explain the price difference ever so slightly. This seems to just be the 4K disc in here. Now, there might be someone in the comments saying you're forgetting it, it's tucked away in somewhere else, but I cannot see the Blu-ray disc in there quickly. But that's the Digipak, and then obviously it slides in here. Now, one thing to be aware of, as I mentioned, it opens kind of back to where the front, where you want it. There is no writing on the spine here, and if you're a serious collector and you like how you catalog your films, that's upside down. You would have to store it that way, which again, then the film's upside down, so for your spine to be correct. That might be off-putting for some people. I don't mind too much. I mean, I'm a collector, but I'm not too bothered about how they're stored upside down. But looking at the two, part of me prefers this Digipak. Yes, some people are going to say it feels a bit, it's cheaper. I mean, it does. I don't think it feels cheap actually. I mean, that bit feels quite cheap. But the actual booklet, the Digibook itself, feels quite nice, and it has way more artwork than the Steelbook. But anyway, I have a few hours spare right now, so I'm actually going to chuck this on and watch it. And we'll come back and quickly talk about the transfer and then wrap things up and make my final decision on which one I think is the better release out of the two. So I've just finished watching the movie for the first time in quite a few years. And as I said at the start of this video, I can remember the movie. I've seen it probably 2 or 3 times before, but I haven't seen it for a long time. It's so good, and I finished it about 10 minutes ago, and that ending is still sticking with me. If you haven't seen 7 and you're here and you wanted to know which version to get, just because you want to get the film, just get either of them and watch it. It's so good. But anyway, let's just have a quick talk on the transfer. Now, I'm not going to go into huge technicals here. Just going to be what I noticed. I am going to put a link to the AV Forums review. Now, I've got no affiliation with them. I just looked at it myself, and it was quite a technical review of the picture and audio. But from my opinion, I know David Fincher was involved in the transfer of this. I know there's been some talk of his use of AI. I didn't notice anything. I thought it looked fantastic. It's quite a dark movie. Colour-wise, it's not a bright, vibrant film at all. But there were times, I put up a couple of screenshots here, and again, take with a grain of salt because they're taken from my phone on a TV, so they're not going to look how they looked to my eye, but it just gives you an idea. Particular scene, from above of the police sirens, that really stood out. The HDR, I think, really helps there with those colours to pop, and the contrast works really well. As for the audio, the Blu-ray has a 7.1 mix, while the 4K itself has a 5.1 mix. Now, I only have a 5.1 setup, and this sounded really good. There's oftentimes I'll watch a film, I have it to be 5.1, and I don't really notice, but this, I found there was a scene, there's a lot of rain in this film. It just sounded really good, and I had no complaints with the audio. If you've got a 7.1 setup, obviously you can use your AV receiver, will up mix from 5.1 to 7.1 most of the time, no problem. I think you'd have to be very, very picky and have a very, very precise setup to really pick the difference. Which edition am I going to end up keeping? Because obviously I don't need 2 versions here. It's still available in the UK, so I'm going to pass this on to someone else here, one of my friends. But which one am I going to keep and which one am I going to pass on? I think I'm going to keep the Digipak. I noticed there's only a £5 difference. And now I'm a collector. I love Steelbooks, but this is just a little bit different. And yes, for some people that's going to be annoying, storing it like that. And for some people, yes, the way the disc is stored, that is, really not cool. But I'm not going to take it out that often. And once it's in there, it's in there. I think there's more artwork here. You get a little bit more, more for your money, despite it being cheaper. So for me personally, I think the Digipak, now I might get some hate for that because, this is the Steelbook and it's laid out properly, and this is the limited edition one. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the Digipak. But hopefully this video has helped you, if you were still sat on the fence deciding which version to go for, like I was for, a whole week, which one shall I get, which one shall I order? So I ended up just ordering both. Hopefully that helps. You've seen the difference now between the two. As I said, the link is in the description for a bit more of a detailed review on the transfer. Again, I haven't written it, but I just found it really useful, so I thought I would share it if you haven't read it already. But as always, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon in the next video.